Like this is like so important. Like the reason why men are so important to the raising of a child and why single dads tend to perform better than single moms when it comes to raising children is because since men will discipline their children and make them pay for their actions when they do something they're not supposed to do, whether it be hitting them, disciplining them, yelling at them, demonstrating some sense of force. What happens is in the child's brain is that the child starts to develop their prefrontal cortex at a faster rate. This is theory to me, but I honestly believe it is true. The child starts to develop their prefrontal cortex at a faster rate. And your prefrontal cortex is actually what allows you to critically think. This is what allows you to develop complex thinking. You start to understand logic and reality. You start to see things very clearly. So the thing is, when dads discipline their children, they teach their children that, oh, if I don't think before my actions, if I just do whatever I feel like doing, bad things can happen. And it teaches you almost to weigh things now because you know, understand as a kid, you start doing this. I even still remember when I was 4 years old, like when you start doing shit, I'd be like, oh, dad's gonna get mad. If I do this thing, dad's gonna get mad. See, the prefrontal cortex is developing. I start to think, I'm like, dad said I shouldn't do this. And when he said, don't do this, and I did it, he whooped me, he hit me, he whatever. So now, because I felt that pain, it forced me to start thinking about my behavior or it forced me to start thinking before I act, right? And naturally, if you're an individual who always thinks before he acts and you understand that there's consequences for your actions, you make better decisions. But okay, now we look at it from the female side of things. Well, women are nurturers. Women are the ones who take care of the children. They're not the ones who primarily discipline said children, right? So what ends up happening is when you have women just raising children, these children are overly emotional because they've never been disciplined. So they don't prioritize their prefrontal cortex. This front part of their brain is less developed because they have not been punished for being emotional. It's almost like it's just the way your brain works. Your brain just works off negative and positive reinforcement. If you've never been negatively reinforced for being overly emotional because you're being raised by just your mom who isn't really a disciplinarian and doesn't really discipline you, well, of course, you're going to make worse decisions when you're older because you prioritize however you feel instead of thinking things through. And you don't consider consequences. You just do whatever you feel like doing. And a prime example of this is the Black community, by the way. If you look at the Black community is a matriarchy, meaning it's just filled with a bunch of young boys that have been raised by single moms. Why do you think these niggas are running around shooting each other and killing each other in the street? Because they don't have a father that disciplines them. They don't have a father that teaches them that there's consequences to their actions. So they just do whatever they feel like doing. Oh, this nigga dissed me, I'm gonna kill him. You see what I'm saying? Like that extreme escalation comes from the lack of the development of the prefrontal cortex that the dad is crucial for because he's the disciplinarian, as I just explained. So I hope this like gave you better perspective and understanding why men are so integral to a household and the nuclear family or building a strong nuclear family because the dad is the disciplinarian who teaches everybody to start thinking about their decisions. And when you think about your decisions, you ultimately will make better decisions. So yeah. Okay.